I've got a question here from Sam, who's asked about staff who come into the office and what they're doing at the moment. So Sam, the answer to that is that where possible, we're asking our staff to work from home, and as many of them as possible are getting on with the jobs wherever they can. But for reasons where this may be difficult, we are redeploying staff into other areas of the council. For example, to administer all the business rates grants, we've increased the capacity of that team by asking people who don't normally work there to join that team and help administer paying out grants to businesses so that we can do that quickly. And there are other examples of that right across the council where we're asking people to do jobs that they might not have done before so that they can support the coronavirus relief effort. Chatterton FC has asked about support available to businesses. Well, the council is responsible for distributing the small business grants and retail, leisure and hospitality grants too, and we're administering all of that locally, and we put some extra resource into the team in order to do that as quickly as possible. We've paid out, as of today, more than £6 million in business grants to support businesses through the coronavirus crisis. To check if your business or organisation is eligible, then you need to log on to www.oldham.gov.uk/cash grants. There are also 12-month business rates holidays being rolled out across the borough for retail, hospitality, leisure and nursery businesses. Now clearly Chatterton FC is a football club, and Sports England have also announced a £195 million package to support sport and physical activity through the crisis. So I'd encourage Chatterton FC to look into this too. Emma on Facebook, who has applied for a business grant, has said that she's having problems getting through to us by email. Now hopefully by the time you've seen this you will have had a response, Emma, but of course these are unprecedented times and we're facing enormous demand for our services. So unfortunately at the moment there are occasions where we're not getting back to people quite as quickly as we would like, but we are acknowledging people's emails and their contact that they when they get in touch with us. So please don't give up and continue to try and contact us if necessary, and we will respond in time. Okay, the next question, Manara on Facebook has asked about paying rent, and Gareth has asked if there's going to be a council tax reduction. On the first one, no one is going to lose their home during the coronavirus pandemic, even if they're struggling to pay their rent or mortgage. The government has been really clear on that. If you are worried though, you can speak to your mortgage provider and ask for a mortgage holiday. I know that many banks are offering that. And payment holidays and rent payment plans should be available from your landlord as well. But of course the law has been changed so that there can't be any evictions during this period due to people not being able to pay their rent. In terms of a reduction in council tax, the short answer is no, there won't be a reduction in council tax. There are more pressures on the council resources than ever. For example, we're not getting as much in through the door in terms of parking charges because people aren't using our car parks because they're not going out. We're not getting as much money through the door in planning fees either because people aren't applying for planning permission. So there are examples of where our revenue as a council is down. There are also examples of where we are having to spend even more money than we normally would have done. For example, the recent changes to bin collections where we have moved to general waste only mean that we are now paying more to tip waste because we are not able to recycle as much, so that is a bigger bill for the council. And of course we're also facing a bigger bill for adult social care and other services for vulnerable people because we have to make sure that people are properly looked after when they are in need during this coronavirus crisis. So it is really important that people continue to pay council tax, because we do need the revenue as a council to continue to provide not just the services that I've talked about and make up for the lost revenue and the increases in costs, but of course we're continuing to provide all the services that we always did too. So it's really important that council tax continues to be paid. Though there are options available if people are struggling to pay council tax. For example, you can move the months where you wouldn't normally pay during the year to the beginning of the financial year, and that means that you can defer payments that would normally happen in April, May and June to not begin until July, so you only pay council tax for the latter 9 months of the financial year, which gives you a 3-month break if that would be helpful. So I'd encourage people to get in touch with our council tax department if you would like to take advantage of that opportunity and defer council tax payments until July. A number of people have also asked about support and help for people who are self-isolating for medical reasons. We know that many people across the borough have received letters from the government telling them that they are in the shielded category, and must isolate for 12 weeks. Fortunately, we have a really strong community in Oldham, and I know on my street and in my community here in Failsworth that neighbours and friends and families are all looking out for each other, doing essential shopping, buying supplies, ringing round and checking up on each other to make sure that everyone's okay. However, there are a small number of people out there in the borough that will need support from the council or from another agency because they don't have a trusted friend, neighbour or family member that can do this. So what we've done at the council is set up the emergency helpline, which can be reached on 770 7007, or 161 at the beginning of that, of course. And that is for people to use as a last resort if they really need help from the council to get hold of food or prescriptions because they can't get out. If there are other things that you need, you can also phone this helpline and you are triaged, and then the council will refer you on to the appropriate agency if the support that you need is not something that we will provide. But we have set up an entire new infrastructure in order to support vulnerable people in our borough, and if people do need to use that helpline in order to get assistance, then again the number is 0161 770 7007. A number of residents are still having to travel to work because they are essential workers and need to continue on working to support people through the crisis. And I've had a question from Holly about public transport. Now, the government is asking people to stay off public transport unless it is absolutely essential. And as a result of the reduced numbers of passengers using public transport, the frequency of Metrolink, bus and local railway services has been reduced. So there are not buses, trains or trams running as frequently as there were, and that is in response to the fewer numbers of people that are now using those services. However, a skeleton service does remain in place to support people that need to get to work and don't have any other means of transport. I've got a question from Steve, who's asking about parking near his home. Says that with so many people being at home all day, he's now finding it difficult to park near his home. We are registering an increased number of concerns around parking in local communities because so many more people are working at home or self-isolating. Where possible, the only advice that I can give is that cars need to be parked in safe locations and ensure that roads remain clear for emergency vehicles. Road safety is still of primary importance, however. Parking enforcement is being relaxed though to support the very special circumstances that we find ourselves in as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. Where possible, we would encourage local residents to park their cars on driveways and car parks where possible rather than parking on the pavement. But I acknowledge that there is an increased pressure on highway space at the moment because more people are working from home. Sherry tells me that her sister is a key worker who got a penalty notice when on call. I'm really sorry to hear that, Sherry. Obviously, as a council, we're really keen to ensure that we're supporting our key workers to deliver the services that they need to deliver during the coronavirus crisis. We do continue to ask that it is ensured that parking takes place in a safe and legal manner. However, if there is an eligibility for appeal in your sister's particular case, Sherry, then I would encourage her to appeal the notice, and the details of how to do this are set out on the back of the notice that she received.